evening, good evening, good evening. It's Ruth Marquise, your favorite realtor. Welcome. It's Ruth Marquise, your favorite realtor, aka your favorite credit specialist. Welcome to Ruth and Real Estate, Ruth and Real Estate Market Update. Welcome to our real estate show. This is where we break down terms and situations and scenarios in real estate so you know what you're getting into. Maybe you're not buying a house tomorrow or selling the house tomorrow, but at least you need to know what is coming next, right? So we're going to jump right into it. I'm going to try to make this as entertaining as possible. But when you get to the nitty gritty, it's work, okay? Nothing but like solid, like contracts. Have you ever been in like a contract class? It's like, wah, wah, wah. But we're going to break down the issues that come up. Hey, Latrice, how are you? We're going to break down the issues that come up in real estate as it pertains to the contract today. So I'm going to let y'all in on back behind the scenes on what it really looks like. Okay. So we're going to focus on that 14-page Pennsylvania contract. But let me give you a little bit of background before we get started. So real estate is like this big monster. Like it's so many things to know, so many things to so many little nuances, so many different scenarios. So every single time, if you talk to any real estate agent that's been in the business for a very long time, they tell you every transaction is like a fingerprint. Okay, it's always going to be different every time, different scenarios, different debts, different credit issues, different title issues, whatever. Okay, very rarely something goes perfectly, but it still goes pretty good. Just got some good news. My appraisal came back very well, but I'm going to confirm those numbers before I get excited. Today, we just put keys in the hand of one of our sellers who bought with us, and now they're expanding their business, and they decided to use us as well, and then they're going to buy a home with us. So we're so excited about that. Just remember, guys, I'm licensed in Pennsylvania, Maryland, and Delaware. So if you're looking in those areas, if you're looking in New Jersey, coming soon. So just let us know. Just text the word, the state that you want to move to. Text PA or DE or MD to 267-259-4639. Set up your consultation. Okay. Put your friends and your family on. Okay. You want them to have an amazing realtor because it's not just about real estate, it's about dealing with people and it's about getting things done, even in the most difficult of circumstances. Yeah, we get it done. All right. So, and you can ask our clients, they love the services that they're getting. All right. So your real estate contract, that's our title for today, aka the agreement of sale. But before that, let's go back and look at the big scheme of things, right? Because if I told you everything about real estate, we would be here for hours and hours and hours, okay? And you'd be like, I didn't need to know all that. I asked sidebar, because I do sidebars. I was like, I do want to learn about football and everything. And he was like, first you just mad now. I was like, hold on, pause. Right now, I don't want to know too much. I was like, it's a floodgate of information. I know you're ready. But maybe when it's in front of me, I can understand it better. And I get that. The problem is when you are about to get into a real estate transaction, now is not the time for class, baby. Now's not the time. It's like asking the teacher for the pages to read the chapter in school in the middle of the final exam. Okay, you got too much on the line. You have money on the line. Where you live is on the line. How much money you're about to pay for another 30 years is on the line. How much money you're about to get in your transaction when you sell it is on the line. Now's not the time. So you need to prepare yourself. So this video is not for everybody. It's for my 25 percenters who have to have all the information, have to cross every T and dot every I, and they want all of this information. And they're gonna be like, y'all didn't tell me that. No, we can't tell you that. It's a lot. It's a lot to know. So all we can tell you is what comes up, what's the issue, and then we can go from there. Okay. Other than that, we're just going to have to hold 6-hour classes for every single client, which y'all the ones that don't want to sit through it. Because when I start explaining to you in the buyer's consultation, Y'all want to get the yawning and be like, okay, is that it? Where do I sign at the end? So imagine at the settlement table and somebody really thoroughly reads every word of all those papers. You're never going to know everything. So you just need to know what you need to know. All right, long story short, let's go. 6 phases of buying a home. Number one is the pre-approval. Okay, you have to get pre-approved. I've done plenty of videos on the pre-approval process. Find it on YouTube, Ruth Marquise group. Okay, subscribe to the channel, and you should find some pre-approval videos so you can find out what you need in order to be pre-approved for a house. Home search. Okay, I tell my clients, you pick the home and I pick the process. Okay, like the process is given to me and I pass it on to you. We cannot change this process, my friend. We can alter, we can pull the levers in the process, but the process is the process. I have a client that's like, why is it that they already sold the house sometimes when we were about to put the offer in? I was like, I know they didn't tell us, but the process is the process. We can't make other people do what they're supposed to do. That's like crazy, right? So we can't really make other people do their job. We just gotta roll with the punches of how it goes. So in real estate, you won't know if something's normal or not. That's why you have to lean on an expert. You have to lean on someone who knows what they're doing, who does this every day. Not your sister that bought a house one time, not your uncle that is investing in properties. Somebody that does it every day, that deals with first-time home buyers. If you're a first-time home buyer, if you're a seller, somebody who sells homes, all the time, and that's going to be your guiding light to help you through this. It's going to be a lot of stress. It's going to be a lot of I don't want to say it's like stressful, but you want somebody that's going to take the stress away and make it easier. I have a client, she's like, are you sure they're going to move everybody out? Are you sure? I was like, it's already taken care of, don't worry about it. Everybody knows what to do. It's like a how would I say it? It's like real estate is like a movie and everybody knows their parts. Okay. So the agents come in, they're the directors, and they're like, okay, action, cut, we make sure things get done. So that's the part. And that's the beautiful part of it. So we got pre-approval, the home search. Okay. After you find a home, then here goes the work, right? So then you go into escrow, you go into inspections and negotiations. You're actually is negotiations and inspections negotiations, inspections, and negotiations again, right? Because every phase is another negotiation. Let's say the inspection report comes back. Yesterday, we got everything on our list approved for inspections because I strategically said, okay, let me see what you want to put on here. And if this is what I added some things on there and I added what's important. And I got him extra repairs because of how we strategically ask for repairs, and then they approve the whole thing. Now, if I just the problem is control. Okay. If I let you take control, you blow it up for yourself. And you might blow up the house that you were able to get. So it's very important that you trust your expert because you're going to have to know what works and what will not work. Okay. And somebody was posting like, now's not the time. Okay. Now's not the time to go get your cousin to sell you a house to help you buy a house when they got their license last week. Now's not the time. You gotta have to have an expert. Okay. And I mean, all the time, you want somebody that knows what they're doing because you just don't know how bad you need your agent until things go south and they make it go back north again. Okay. We're good at that. All right, so inspections, negotiations, title search. After you're under contract, you guys agree on the repairs. The next part is going to be a little quiet. It's going to be title search. You're going to be talking to your lenders. We're waiting for the appraisal to come back. Like I told you, appraisal came back, no repairs. But keep in mind, the agents always kept the appraisal in mind. Smart agents keep the appraisal in mind. They didn't go overboard on the offer and then have appraisal issues later. Okay. So you also have to manage expectations as the agent so that your client doesn't ask for extra. Oh, it's okay. We can ask for $1 million. And when wait till the appraisal come back, that's on them. It's not really smart to move like that. So that's another thing that could, if it comes in too low, then y'all have to renegotiate. And that could be a deal breaker as well. You can get all the way to the end and not agree on what's going to happen. So a lot of things I like to do, giving away my secrets, I like to negotiate mostly everything up front. this is what's going to happen, this, that. What's your fears? What's your problem? Some people don't like FHA. I would have stipulations like, okay, we're FHA, but X, Y, Z, 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 Z. And they're like, you know what? This is not a bad deal, Ruth. I'm going to take your deal. Plenty of times because of how I structured it, not to brag, guys, but just to let you know how this goes behind the scenes, but you guys just don't know what happens, like when, the agents are talking on the phone, right? They were like, I want to go with your deal because even though other people are offering me more, I like how you positioned it. Okay. I like how you want to make this a smooth transaction. I like how you were professional and you answer my questions quickly and all of those things. All those little things matter because when you don't do what you're supposed to do, that listing agent gets very scared. They're like, oh no, we have listing agents are scared of incompetent agents. They don't want to waste their time. They don't want to lose a client over an agent who does not know what they're doing. Okay, so then sometimes sometimes you gotta let them know. I know what I'm doing. Don't worry. All right. So next is appraisal after the title search. Title comes back. Everything's good. Title problems you can have is if somebody dies and passes on the property. I'm dealing with that right now as well. So they have to find out who the real owner is, have to open up the estate. All these things have to happen. Title search could be issues, can be child support, could be liens on the house. It could be the city's coming after you now that they know you're selling that house that they've been told you to fix up and you ain't want to fix up. They're going to start hitting you with them fines now. So those are title issues that come up, but most of the time, title is not a big thing. Appraisal is like a thing where people more so like everybody's like, okay, how's this going to turn out? And then settlement. Day of settlement, then you get your keys. Make sure you switch your utilities over. All right, so that's a brief overview of the home buying process. Okay, so let's talk about contracts. Y'all ready? Y'all ready? All right, guys. If this cuts off, you can catch us on. Oh, we got 18% on here. Ruth Marquise group. Make sure you go like our Facebook page. All of the lives are going to be there. Ruth Marquise group. Okay, so if you like that page, when we're coming up live and we cut off on Instagram, which we normally do, it happens. Okay, I can only plug so many things in a second. If this goes off, and in about 10-20 minutes, you get, jump on Ruth Marquise group on Facebook. Okay, so let's talk about these contracts. I want to see who's super serious about buying a house. You serious? Are you serious, my friend? Okay, let's pull out some contracts. And first, let's go over a term like, oh, boo. All right. One of the terms that comes up a lot in real estate is conveyancing. I'm gonna read that for y'all. Conveyance is the act of transferring ownership of a piece of property from one to another. It's more so to do with title. So if you see the word conveyance, it means like we're trying to get all of the boxes checked so that the property can go from one person to the next person legally. Okay. And so the real estate agent is important in that as well because they're making sure real estate agents, but for those who want to for sell by owner, real estate agents make sure that you are not sued, right? They're making sure they're decreasing your risk of getting sued because you didn't fill out this form right, or you just left something out. You didn't really know what to do when this situation came up. And what for sale by owners don't know is that they could have got more money if they used a real estate agent. A lot of times when people say, oh yeah, people are calling me to buy my house all the time, I'm just like, in my mind, I'm like, okay, yeah, they offered you half the price that you would have got if you had a real estate agent. So did they lowball you? Yes. Okay, now I see why you didn't sell it. And so they're trying to catch somebody in a desperate moment that wants to sell low. Ask them to buy your home at close to retail, and they're gonna be like, we're good, we're gonna pass. That's all. And a lot of those those older men, they're like, I asked them, would they give me $350 for it? No one is like $250, and they're like, oh yeah, they hung up on me. So it's too funny. All right, let's talk about this contract now. So now that we got conveyancing out of the way, I don't know if we're gonna be able to finish everything today, but part of me wanted to like in general go in. You know what? That's what we're gonna do. We're gonna do in general going through the contract. And then if you want, the word for word, go through every single piece of it. That will probably be in our future classes. All right, so share the screen. Here we go. Ruth and real estate, Ruth and real estate, market. All right, here we go. Y'all ready? All right, so I don't know what they're going to say about me having this contract out. But what I do know is if you're going to put it in people's faces, at least teach them. And I do want to ask you, like, how many agents, right? How many agents are out here teaching you the steps to buying a home? How many agents are going through contracts with you? How many agents? I'm your favorite realtor. Don't get it twisted. I'm your favorite realtor, right? But you have not paid me yet. And this is what I do for free. So imagine what happens when you actually go into agreement with me. I represent you. Imagine what I will do, right? Imagine the service you would get. All right. Now, can you guys see it okay? Everything's good? Okay. So in this section, you will put the buyer's name, the address here, mailing address, the seller's name, the seller's address. This is called the standard agreement of sale for real estate. Let me show you guys over here. All right, let's see where we at. If you have any comments, let me know. Hey guys, how are you? All right, so let's go. Property. All right, I'm gonna try to do run through. Address. And if you want more information, just say more info, and then I'll know to go in more detail in the future. Okay, so this is where the address is, municipality, the school district, the zip code, the county, tax ID numbers, just to make sure it's specifically that property and not another. Okay, so there's story time. Okay, because we got to have story time. All right, so here goes story time real quick. So what happened was we kind of went to a showing years ago, and it was the wrong address, y'all. I was like, why can't I get in? With the lockbox, it was 2 properties on there. But by the time I had called the agent and I'm like, yo, I need the code, and I got in, and then we realized, wait a minute, this is not the same in the picture. She's like, why the cabinets brown and they were white, right? Or they were white. She's like, I thought they were going to be brown. They're white. It's much better than I thought. And I was like, wait, what? So then we realized there was another property. Now this property actually was more money, and they were on the same street, different sides of the street. So we went to go see the one we were supposed to see that day, and she ended up buying the one. Okay, you can't tell me God ain't on my side, right? She ended up buying the one that was more expensive, that we didn't even have on our radar, because it was that much nicer. She was ready to commit when she saw everything she wanted in their house. So that was really cool. So back to the contract. Isn't that crazy? You can definitely, people have sold the wrong house. Okay. Anyway, so this, when you put the tax ID number, people know it's exactly that house. Okay. Alrighty. Moving on. I'm going to see if I can make it as big as possible. Okay, cool. So, all right. So, for page number 1 is filled with who's the who's who of the contract. Okay, page number 1, who's who. This is the buyer, the seller, right? Then the property. Then you have the buyer's agent. Then you have the seller's agent. Okay. You will be initialing all these pages, and these contracts change from time to time. So this is the 2022 version. It changed. The last revision was August 2022. All right. So today's date, contract date will be right here. Okay. Seller hereby agreed to sell and convey. Remember that word comes up in place, meaning transfer ownership to buyer who agrees to purchase the identified property. So here you're going to put the purchase price. So let's say I put in, 400. Not even right here. There we go. $400,000. So they made it so it's going to populate by itself. Okay. Initial deposit. Okay. So the first week or first 5 to 7 days, you're gonna put down. Let's say you put a deposit of $5,000 down. All right, you can split them up if it's a big one. But usually there's one EMD. We call it EMD, earnest money deposit. There's only one EMD check, um, but sometimes it can be two. So just depends. Like it just makes it better. The thing you need to remember is, and I'm going through the contract and I'm pointing things you need to remember. Thing you need to remember is this. Um, this is included in your closing costs. It's not extra money that you pay. It's just that you're showing them that you're serious. You got skin in the game. If you don't do what you're supposed to do, then that is in jeopardy. But most times when you have an agent, that's not in jeopardy because you're doing everything the correct way. So it's only in issue if you're like, oh my gosh, I want to back out. There's ways to back out, but you have to do it legit. You can't just do it like whatever way you want, right? Like, for example, since I ain't gonna get paid, we might as well story time. Another story time. I need a bring, like a heart. Real estate story time. So I ended up helping a client for about 3 years. Young guy came out of the prison system. And I was just trying to, my brother trying to show them a way. Okay, I was trying to be there. I went into the roughest of neighborhoods for this person. I found myself in a weird positions where I'm almost in the basement with a squatter while he is close to the door. Okay. And then, like, long story short, first time we came out of contract because some crazy thing. The house was literally falling apart, being condemned. I was like, oh gosh, condemned. Yeah, it was being condemned. He had to come out of contract. Second time, he had a personal reason, came out of contract. Mind you, um, third time, we get all the way to settlement. Okay. What did he do? Oh, oh, mind you, I ended up knowing his father. I grew up with his father and didn't know it all. And, he just wanted to cast cold feet and he walked in the settlement and said, y'all going to give me 10, 20,000 off the price, this and that and the third. He walked into settlement. I was on my way. And you know what? Settlement was blew up. He blew the whole thing up and walked out. Nothing was sold that day. No home was bought. No home was sold that day. I mean, it was prime location too. Like it was a very busy Philly street where business could have been there. Anyway, long story short, you don't get your money back day of settlement. Mm-mm, mm-mm. You don't get your money back day of settlement. Then it was a dilemma for me. So I'm supposed to, um, however way they ended up. This how good of a heart I have. Okay, I put them under contract again, and unfortunately, the person was lived in another state and they couldn't get the property, so she needed me to get that uh, signature. So I leveraged that need that she had for me, for my client to sign off, to get her to sign off on his deposit so he can get his money back. Mind you, I didn't get paid. He did slide me some, but part of my fee, but mind you, I didn't get paid. Okay. And um, what happened was, mind you, I did it 3 times. What ended up happening was now all of a sudden, people losing the check. Oh my gosh. I had to hear, where's the check? Where's the check? Where's the check? I'm like, what? So they mailed it or not mailed it, or something wasn't signed or something, and somebody held it. So months is going by, and I'm like, first of all, he was rude about it. He could have told me, and I would have got him out the contract some way. So I'm still working to get his money back, and I ended up actually getting his money back. Do you think the next conversation he would tell me they sent him the check? Mm-mm. What do you want to do? He want me to get to work again. I said, no, brother, just keep your money, sir. Keep your money. He ended up buying with someone else. I said, it's all good. When he was ready to buy it, he didn't call me because he know he was embarrassed. I'd be embarrassed too. So that's that. But my point is, it's ways to get out the contract. It's ways to get your check back. But you have to have a trusted advisor helping you to do it. But I just thought that was one of my worst stories. I just was like, sir, I wasted 3 years. 3 years. Whew, child. But because of that, now I do business completely different, you know. So it actually was a benefit. You know, your girl always, one thing you need to know about Ruth, she's always going to turn lemons to lemonade. So I put in a procedure where that could never happen again. Whereas as far as I get zero and I'm doing all of this work and all of that. So, I mean, it worked out for me. Um, but he can still pay me. It's okay. He can still pay me. All right. Yeah. So you can get out the contract, guys. But that's the whole point of this contract. This contract tells you contracts are not for when things go right. Contracts are for when things go wrong. I'm gonna say it again. Contracts are not for when things go right. Contracts are for when things go wrong. And everybody has their marching orders because it's in the contract. It's already spelled out. So let's keep going. Um, we're going through the PA contract right now. Oh, da, 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 da. All right, so it says all funds paid by the buyer, including deposits, will be paid by check, cashier's check, or wire funds. All funds paid by buyer within 30 days of settlement, including funds paid at settlement, will be by cashier's check or wire funds, but not by personal check. Okay. Your girl's so used to 30-day closes. I had to tell my client, I was like, you know what? She's like, I'm bringing a personal check. They told me I could bring a personal check. I was like, what? And then I was like, oh, yeah, you're doing beyond 30 days. Well, usually we close in 30 days. You're right. You're right. So I have on multiple occasions had to tell them, and I told them it's $10 for the check at the bank. Do you think they listen? Oh, most of them do. But then sometimes she's like, oh, the teller told me it's okay. If the teller tell you it's okay, make sure they pay for your gas when you have to go back to the bank because some things are just not negotiable. Some things you're gonna feel like a little kid walking back because the teacher told you did the problem wrong, and you're gonna have to go back to the bank and get the right check. So make sure, because a lot of times it is under the 30 days. And by the time you get that check to them, and you're going to have that cashier's check. Just letting you know. If you ever try to come to, if you ever try to come to settlement with a money order, first of all, you can't because money order is only a certain amount of money, right? Not possible. But anyway, yeah, they're going to turn you back. You're going to have to go back to the bank. So make sure you are following instructions. One thing about the school system that they did teach us is to follow instructions closely. Matter of fact, remember back in the day, your girl always got a story. Did anybody ever take that test? And they was like, make sure you write the letter A, then write the letter C, and then do X, Y, Z, and had all the instructions, right? And when you get the number 8, right? Let me just go make up number 8. When you get the number 8, it says skip to the bottom because you read all the instructions. Everybody was doing the entire test, right? But the people that read every word and follow the instructions, right? Y'all didn't ever take this test. Y'all followed the instructions. You like, why is everybody taking so long? But they didn't read. I think it says skip. Number 2 says skip to the end, and they didn't read it. So they took the whole entire exam, and then come to find out, you didn't have to do all that because you just didn't read instructions properly. And it says, ha ha, this for all the people that followed the instructions correctly, you didn't have to take this whole test. So that one was a big, even though I don't read everything, but that was a big lesson. And hopefully people know that lesson. If you don't do it exactly the way they asked you to, you probably gonna have to do it again. I'm gonna say it again. If you don't do it the way they asked you, especially the mortgage company, you're probably gonna have to do it again. So when I send my contracts out, I send it exactly where I want you to sign. I send it exactly where I want you to initial because I don't want room for error. And it takes me extra time, but it's okay. All right? Because we got to have it right. And sometimes, and even the smallest initial next to a change, that's going to be very key and clutch. the smallest little number could be the I used to tell my staff, if you mess up this number, you're automatically fired because you cost my client money. You're automatically fired. So make sure on this contract, this is checked and this number is here, because if you don't, it's going to cost the client. They could potentially be sued if they don't have this. So y'all thinking anybody can do the job is not the best strategy for when you're buying a house, the biggest purchase of your life could potentially be. Okay, unless I guess you're buying a business, I guess it's better, bigger. Okay, let's move on in the contract. I don't think we'll do one page today. All right. All right. So we have, okay, so 30 days. All right. Deposits, regard. All right. I told you I'm not going to read all this. You're going to have to just take the class for it. Let's go to Seller's Assist. This is where Seller's Assist comes in. Got a story on that this week. Okay. Seller's Assist, you said seller will pay dollar amount or percent of the purchase price. Okay. Toward buyer's cost permitted by lender, mortgage lender, if any. Seller is only obligated to pay up to the amount or percentage which is approved by the mortgage lender. So the mortgage lender say that's too much in Seller's Assist because we have different rules. Then no. Oh, so I got I had a agent say people are not doing Seller's Assist anymore. I said, man. She said, people are not even doing Seller's Assist. Why is she giving me Seller's Assist? I was like, she's like, people are not even doing Seller's Assist. I laughed in my head like, ma'am, I get Seller's barely, rarely, maybe 1-2 times I don't get Seller's Assist from my clients. I'm going for it. They have the money in the bank, so what? That's not your money. You don't get to count it. They're gonna bring as little as possible. As little as possible. It's not your money. Okay, they need furniture, they need monies if anything goes wrong. But that's where when things happen, I'm like, it's okay because I already saved you $10,000. Remember the Seller's Assist I asked for. That's in your account, okay? So having a great agent can save you tens of thousands of dollars. Having an agent make sure your credit is up to par before you buy a house can save you up to $90,000. That's us. Yeah, that's us. Do. Getting your credit score up there, you can save $90,000 on a $300,000 home if you are getting your credit up there. Okay, because that's a long time that interest is going to be. That's 360 payments. Interest. Okay. Next, the way my stories go is going to be a minute, y'all. All right, settlement date. So this is where the settlement date will be. Another common question is, when do I get the keys, Ruth? Pass me the keys to my Beamer. Who am I? Right? The same date as settlement, right? If you settle, this is a goal. It's not always going to settle on that date. So please don't take off. Like, wait, how many times, agents? How many times have how many times has your client taken off for settlement and the bank ain't even given the mortgage approval yet, right? And it's like, who told you? We almost there, but not quite. Let me make it official. So yeah, it's important that you wait for a settlement. Like you get a settlement notice, and that's when you know for sure you're closing, right? When you get that mortgage approval. Other than that, every minute up until the mortgage approval, yeah, you kind of dating them. You're not married to it. All right. We're gonna skip this part. Settlement and possession. This is just saying like, hey, special things that like, listen, conveyancing or payment of transfer tax is equal, except here. This is where we put our different changes. Time is of dates and time is of the essence. It used to just say time is of the essence, but dates and time is of the essence now. Okay, so basically, if whatever date we put in here, right here, whatever date we put in that box, that's the deadline that the seller has to accept the offer. Except for when they have multiple offers, they kind of act like this don't exist. However, It depends on if the person moved on to the next house or not. Some buyers will do that. So you only have until that date. So usually we kind of make it the next day or 2 days later. I usually make it the next day. Um, so you're gonna initial that. Zoning usually is either single family dwelling or two family dwelling. This is inclusions where you're putting all of the things that are included in this cell, right? So dishwasher, refrigerator, stainless steel refrigerator, washer, dryer. You put it in this section, okay? So you go in those pictures and you put it in there. Excluded furniture and items, you can put that there. All right, buyer financing. This is where if you get an FHA, you're going to put the price of the home here. That's page 3. You're gonna, if you're getting, this is just like disclosures, like when you are doing real estate, disclose, disclose, disclose. All right, one more page, and I think we're done. Mortgage contingency, right? If you have cash, you'll click waive. If you have elected, if you want to elect a mortgage contingency, then you hit the elected button, okay? And here we're going to put the loan amount. It's a special calculation. You're not going to include the down payment. So the mortgage amount is here. Hey, Mortgage Maverick, good timing. Minimum terms, probably 30 years. A lot of loans I have not seen as many 15-year loans. Most loans are 30 years. Type of mortgage is going to be here, whether it's FHA, conventional, VA, and then you're going to put the rates in here, the maximum rate. You know, you don't want to go over a certain rate, especially right now. That's this big. If it changes, right? Let's say you put a maximum rate here and it goes over that, then you can get out the contract. So it's important that people keep an eye on here. And this little box up here, this is where the commitment date is put in. So a couple of weeks before, you're going to put the commitment date or a week before. And that's when that's the deadline for the mortgage company. For that is page 4. So we went through the first 4 pages. This one's easy. Change in buyer's financial status. You have to, as you see in bold, they're not playing. If it's in bold, they're not playing. Buyers understand that applying for and incurring additional financial obligation may affect the buyer's ability to purchase. Okay, let's talk about it. AKA, don't buy a car while you're buying a house. AKA, right? These are the times, you know, common sense is not always common, especially when you're not in the business. I understand it, but it's just so crucial and critical that you can't make this mistake. If you make that mistake of using your credit, opening up new credit while you're buying a house, you have the potential to lose thousands of dollars. Okay, people have to understand that you can lose thousands of dollars. I had somebody that didn't quite understand the language, and they're like, "Oh, they said, do I want this dress?" They bought a dress, opened up a credit card while they were buying a home, and everybody was like, "What is this? What is this?" She said, "It was a dress." I be going through it. Like that was a whole headache that day. She said it was a dress, so they had to do backflips to figure out how to fix her credit score so she can get back into buying a home. Almost lost a home over buying a dress, and she's like, "Oh, they didn't tell me it was a credit card." Yeah, it's a credit card. Don't they? Nothing's for free in America. They're not giving free dresses or a discount. Like, oh, you want a discount on the dress? Okay, cool. That means they're giving you a credit card. She didn't. She didn't know that. She has language barrier issues. All right, so here we go. Public water, public sewer for the homes in Philly. So this whole page, look at this. It says notices pursuant to Pennsylvania sewage facilities. I want you to see this real quick. I'm going to do the first 5 pages. All right, so let me read you the technical terms. It says there is no currently existing community sewage system available for this property. Section 7 of Pennsylvania Sewage Facilities Act provide that no person shall install, construct, request bid proposal for construction, alter, repair, or occupy any building or structure, right? That for which an individual sewage system is to be installed without first obtaining a permit. So they put it in there like, listen, y'all not fitting to be making all these sewage changes without talking to us. So that's notice 1. That's notice 2. That's notice 3, right? holding tank. So these are the rules are just they're just letting you know, listen, don't play with us, right? Um, so and land use. Okay. So these are things that don't pertain to each and every buyer or seller. So it's just in the contract. So you know this is what they decided to put in the contract. So all 14 pages is not something like, oh, how they trying to get me? How they trying to get me? No, that's not what it's for. It's just so that they can be clear and have a place like you, just to let you know you own this property. Don't act crazy when you get it, okay? Don't act like a fool. You need to get permission from us before you start messing stuff up, okay? So that's why I click public sewer, public water, right? In the on these fully private. Now, if there's other options, like I'll show you that since we're on this page. There's other options, and then we're going to wrap up. So you'll see community sewage disposal program, 10-acre permit exemption. Holding tank, on individual on-lot sewage disposal system, right? So if it has a sump pump, if it's different things going on with your property, then this applies. But if it's just public water, public sewer, then it doesn't apply. I was just putting that to you. All right, guys, if you have any questions at all, please feel free. I'm not going to do all of those pages. You guys have to stay tuned. And once our real estate classes are done, we'll be able to go through the entire contract with you, tell you what it means. We're just giving you a sample for right now, and you'll be able to understand the contract fully. Sign it with confidence because you're trusting people to direct your life, something important in your life for the next 30 years, and you need to understand it. Like I tell people to go to the home inspection. You need to be there. And if you're a single woman and you got a boyfriend or a husband or you're married, make sure your man's there because we need to know if you the shut off vibe. You need to know that you're being educated about your home during the home inspection process. Now you know what if an emergency you're going to hit this, you're going to do that. This is important. That's not important. They have that conversation. Okay, it's very important. The more information you know, the better off you're going to be. Even though it seems like a lot, the home inspector can go on and on and on and on and on and on and on. And you'd be like, that's a lot of information, like a water hose. So I don't want to water hose you today. That I just wanted to go through with you, like just this, so you can see what different kind of things are important. So you need somebody that's going to break it down to you, what's important to you, what's relevant, and what is not. Okay. So if you guys have any questions, any comments, please leave them below. Make sure you subscribe to our YouTube channel, Ruth Marquise Group. I will see you guys next week on Ruth and Real Estate, Ruth and Real Estate Market Update. Woo! My voice is getting better because I sing in the choir now. Oh, yeah. Bye, guys. See you next week.